But if you measured in Bitcoin the gain that what you're making instead of in fiat, what you're making is going to go up in purchasing power forever. So the sats I give today every day on Nostr, which will buy coffees today, will buy cars in the future. Right? That's what it will look like.
Yeah.
And so if you're contributing your time today and you're patient in that time and you're tuned out of this other world, you're going to be extraordinarily benefited from creating value for other people in an area that accrues more value to you because you created more value. If US moves forward with a Bitcoin reserve, other countries will too. Whether they do or not, other countries will. Mm-hmm. And it's going to kick off a cycle where some people are selling right now and everybody's going to be buying.
Jeff Booth, a notable entrepreneur and author, posits that the Bitcoins, Satoshis, or sats you use to buy coffee today will eventually allow you to purchase cars in the future, advocating for patience in the journey of Bitcoin's value appreciation. He emphasizes that a Bitcoin strategic reserve is inevitable, whether initiated by the US or other nations, as more countries will recognize Bitcoin's potential as a stable asset. Booth argues that Bitcoin represents a unique economic system, unlike any before it, where the supply is limited and prices are expected to rise over time. This contrasts sharply with traditional fiat currencies, which tend to depreciate due to inflationary pressures. He believes we are transitioning toward a more valuable Bitcoin ecosystem rather than one that is deflationary and diminishing in worth. In his view, the current economic systems are flawed and manipulated, leading to wealth concentration and inefficiencies. So, let's listen to what more Jeff Booth have to say about the future of Bitcoin and crypto. But before that, make sure to watch this video until the end, and also like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet.
All of that, I can tell you, because it's going to be chaotic as it moves through, because most people don't understand that this is happening.
Yeah.
Right? It not might be happening. This is happening right now. And so people ask, when does this happen? Well, it's happening. Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're in Bitcoin for any 4-year cycle, you know that all prices fall. Right? Mm-hmm. Your representation of what you think is happening might be, because you're still living in Bitcoin in the other system, you might think it's rising faster than your other prices, right?
Yeah.
And if you didn't have Bitcoin, you're getting destroyed by the same system. You're losing money, right? So let's say so that means there's a whole bunch of people with varying different degrees of understanding, and all are correct to their view. Right, but Bitcoin doesn't care about any of the views. Right, it's just a decentralized secure protocol bounded by energy, and it's imposing new rules that you don't have to play by the rules if you don't want. You can try to stop it. You can choose not to play, but it's imposing new rules. So let's use your example and say the natural state of the free market is deflation, right? We know that because we only use the things that give us more value. And let's use two different companies today. One company says, don't worry, I'm going to keep your jobs. I'm going to keep paying you X. And for the purposes of this, let's do it in Bitcoin terms, so it's not as complicated. So I'm going to pay you 1 Bitcoin a year. What that mean is their competitor, which is negotiating the salaries to make sure that they're in line to value, will have an increasing, negotiating down salaries, right? Will have an increasing performance gap against that company, and that company will fail because you won't use the company that costs more.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, this thought experiment always gets me in a bind here with you, because like the example I've always been thinking about is if you ask the average, I guess, tech guy out there about the iPhone, whether they think it's the best smartphone there is, majority of people will say no. And, but they have the network effects, whether it's the apps or, you're in the group message with people and, you send them the green message and they all get upset and whatnot. And it's kind of created this thing where Apple is probably the most dominant phone company, at least in the United States, not globally. And I think part of the reason was just because of like the marketing tactics that Steve Jobs really did, right? The whole white screen, the clean, the chic, that aspect of it. Now, I'm just like in this new Bitcoinized world, I'm just not sure like how marketing will be, I guess, like revolutionized and sales, that aspect, because it seems like that's majority of the stress right now. It's like less on the product, more on how it's marketed and sold.
So that is 100% because everybody's trying to stand out inside a control system that's controlled by the big monopolies. That's why like to try to stand out on Facebook or try to market your product inside that system is the amount of extraction to try to, my thing is better. Mm-hmm. If you don't have 10 to 20 times better, good luck, right? Good luck. Mm-hmm. And to try to have 10 to 20 times better inside this perverse system, it's very, very hard. They're all me too's, right? They're narrow gaps and you will never overcome that. The new system is totally different. So you have a marketing lens out of the existing system it's extractive. It's trying to take all of your advertising dollars to the monopolies.
Gotcha.
Right? That's what it is. And great products don't actually need much marketing. Right? Because they have 10 times better and customers find them and the customers are the marketing. So it's interesting to watch this. It's interesting to watch this that Google doesn't really have a lot of advertising. Mm-hmm. Amazon doesn't have a lot of advertising. Facebook doesn't have a lot of advertising, but they all become giant advertisers as everybody else tries to advertise on them to be able to do this. And that sucking sound to try to stand out is really hard to stand out out of that system. Think about, and here's the thing, every problem creates an opportunity, right? And that's how the free market works. So actually you could even say that the start of Bitcoin was that problem that cryptographers saw, cypherpunks saw, that said this consolidating system will end up in this really bad spot. And we have to design something that's different, right? That's actually what the kind of the insight to this. But now what's happening on top of that on Nostr and others, if you think about all of the people here right now in the other system, as this one gets worse, this one gets better. And so if you're contributing there, even though, and as that one's getting better and better, what are the people there seeing? They're seeing their own value to other people go up in response, and more people are moving their time, and they're just early in this system. So that's kind of what's happening. This transition. The U.S. Moves forward with a Bitcoin reserve. Other countries will too. Whether they do or not, other countries will, and it's going to kick off a cycle where some people are selling right now and everybody's going to be buying. If people are holding in self-custody, where does the Bitcoin come from? And there's a whole bunch of Bitcoiners that aren't going to sell at any price. Mm-hmm. And so where does if you're trying to, just imagine you're a financial institution and you've always been able to short long and short a system and get bailed out. What about when you try to short something, you can't buy it back in at a price? Like, what does this do to some of the institutions that might naked short this and what that would cost? We're going to see some really interesting fireworks because each of these institutions, and like you mentioned Facebook, I'd be surprised if Dell and Amazon don't start buying this year too. And that's just kind of a couple of names that. And what does that cause as others do, and you start to see this acceleration? What does it cause to other people racing? And it's going to be interesting.
And that's all for today. Do you also believe that we are moving or have already moved towards more valuable Bitcoin system instead of our old financial system that is deflationary and way lesser in value? Let us know in the comments. Hope you have liked the video. If yes, then make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.